In this lesson, we're going to take a look at another approach to fixing seams. Alright, so go ahead and open up the grass_01 image from that raw images folder. And we're going to take a look at another approach to fixing the seams of the top and the bottom of this texture. So to start out, let's go ahead and resize it. So we're going to go to Image, Image Size, and you'll see that this is just a little bit smaller than what we've been using. So we're going to take that height up to 2048. Make sure that you have that constrained proportions on, and we're going to use bicubic smoother for enlargement. So we'll hit OK. And we could come in here and go ahead and build out our guide. So let's grab the top ruler and build a guide out to the bottom. And it's going to be at 28¼ inch there. So let's go ahead and build this one out. So 28¼ And now what we're going to do is we're going to get our left and our right seam. So to do this, let's unlock our layer, hit OK, and then we're going to select our marquee tool and drag this out to our guide here, and that should snap. If it doesn't snap, go to View and turn Snap on. Okay, let me try that one more time. Let's make sure that we have that snap there. Normally, whenever you're trying to snap to a guide, it's best to come out away from it and then back in, so that way it snaps right on that guide. So let's right click and let's do Layer via Cut, so that way it places it on its own layer. Let's grab it with our Move tool and move it all the way to the left side. Now as you move it over, it's really hard to see that seam, and because grasses are very abstract and wild, it's hard to see the patterns and to visibly make out that seam. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, and if you zoom in you can see it a little bit easier, and even zoomed in this much it's still kind of tough. So we're going to use that trick that we've been using with our eraser tool. We'll set that opacity down to about 55%, and then we're just going to erase that seam there. Okay, now we don't need to do a whole lot because this works pretty well. One thing that you want to avoid though is things like on leaves. You want to avoid not erasing enough because it's going to make it look like something is covering that leaf up, and it's just not going to look quite right. It's going to look blurred. Okay, so now that we've got that seam fixed, let's go ahead and crop this out. So let's crop out our extra information and hit enter. And now what we need to do is we need to take care of our top and bottom seams. So let's merge these two together. We're going to merge those layers, and now with this what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this layer. Okay, so hit Control J, and layer 1 is going to be our original. Okay, so this is going to come in handy in just a moment. Let's go to Layer 1 Copy. Let's apply our offset filter, and you can see here right across the middle we've got a little bit of a seam. Now one thing that we cannot do is come in here and erase this. So if I came in here and started to erase this seam, what we're going to see is the layer underneath. Now we could go ahead and do this way, but it's probably not going to always work out that way, simply because grass is not always going to be the seamless texture that we're going to be creating. It's not always going to be this abstract. So I wanted to show you a way to take care of this without relying on that bottom layer. So let's delete that out really quick, and let's create a new layer by hitting Control and J. Let's apply that filter again, and now we're going to hide Layer 1 Copy. Let's go to Layer 1, and we're going to grab our lasso tool, and I'm just going to grab an area around the center. So I'm just going to draw out this circle, okay, around the center of this texture, and then I'm going to right click on it and do Layer via Copy. Let's drag that new layer above our Layer 1 Copy. Let's unhide Layer 1 Copy and then hide Layer 1. Now what we've done is we've just sampled from our original and placed it over the top of that seam of our offset. So now what I can do is come in here and just start to erase those seams of that sampled area. So I can just come in here and start to erase that. We want to make it pretty large so that way it's harder to see where that seam lies there. Alright, so now that we have that seam fixed, what we can do is we can merge those layers. Merge layers. And then we'll do offset again. And you'll see that that changes. Okay. Now, one thing that you're going to notice is as we continue to hit Control F and going back and forth on that offset filter, you'll notice that it seems like it's changing. Okay. Well, the only thing that's really changing is, or well, not changing, is that center part that we sampled, because those are now in the exact same place. But let's take a look at this and make sure that it's going to tile properly, because if I saw that, I would be a little worried. So with this, let's make a duplicate copy of this. So we're going to remove layer 1. Let's just delete it. Duplicate layer 2 by hitting Control and J, just to make sure that we have an original. And let's take this layer 2 copy and let's transform it. So hit Control T. We're going to hold down Shift and we're going to drag this down. Okay. We'll hit Enter on that. Let's hide layer 2 and let's duplicate these smaller portions. So I'm going to hit Control J. Let's grab, let me actually hit Control J one more time. I actually erased on that, didn't mean to. And let's just tile this right here on our canvas. Control J, and I'm just going to fill up this canvas area with my grass. And let's just make sure that this tiles properly. Now you can see some lines in there, and that's just because the snapping's not quite working all the way. Here we go. So if we look at this grass texture, this is tiled. Okay, and this is what it would look like on a terrain. And we can't tell where it begins and where it ends. So this is a great example of what a tiled texture is going to look like, and this is a great way to test your tiled textures. All right? So we know that that technique is going to work for us. We just have to be careful around those edges. All right, so in our next lesson, we're going to take a look at another approach to using this, but we're going to be using the patch tool instead. So I'll see you then.